Jesus' journey through Jerusalem on Good Friday. It begins with Pontius Pilate condemning Jesus to death and ends with him being laid in the tomb. First station. Jesus is condemned to death. Look at Jesus. Jesus is standing before angry people who are yelling and saying mean, hurtful things to him. But Jesus stays quiet, even though he knows that he will be hurt. He knows that God is with him. He even asks God to help him forgive those people who are hurtful towards him. We adore you, O Christ, and we praise you. Second station. Jesus is given his cross. Look at Jesus. When the soldiers put a big, heavy cross on Jesus' shoulders, Jesus doesn't fight with them or say angry words to them. He knows that he has to carry his cross, and he knows that the way will be very hard for him at times. But Jesus knows that God is with him, and he asks for God's help to carry his cross. We adore you, O Christ, and we praise you.
Third station. Jesus falls the first time. Look at Jesus. Jesus is so tired as he walks along the road with his heavy cross on his shoulders. The cross keeps pushing into his shoulder, and the stones on the road hurt his feet. People yell and push him. The shoulders shout for him to move faster. Then Jesus falls, and he prays in his heart, God, help me remember that you are here. We adore you, O Christ, and we praise you.
Fourth station. Jesus meets his mother Mary. Look at Jesus. As Jesus walks slowly with the cross on his shoulders, a woman comes up to him. It's Jesus' mother, Mary. How sad for them to see each other now. Even though they both know that God is with them, Mary feels so sad because she sees her son suffering. And Jesus' heart is aching because his mother is so sad. We adore you, O Christ, and we praise you.
Fifth station. Simon helps Jesus carry his cross. Look at Jesus. Jesus is so tired that the soldiers know he cannot carry the heavy cross by himself. So they look around and see someone who looks strong enough to help Jesus carry this cross. This person's name is Simon. Jesus looks at Simon and quietly whispers, "Thank you," to Simon. Then they continue on the long road, carrying the cross together. We adore you, O Christ, and we praise you.
Sixth station. Veronica wipes Jesus' face. Look at Jesus. Jesus is hot, tired, and sweating. He is covered in dust from the long walk. Suddenly, a woman pushes her way out of the crowd and stands in front of Jesus. She takes a clean cloth and gently wipes Jesus' face. Jesus is so thankful. He leaves a picture of his face on her cloth. We adore you, O Christ, and we praise you.
Seventh station. Jesus
falls a second time. Look at Jesus, how very tired, weak, and sad Jesus is now. Even though he keeps trying to walk with a heavy cross, he just can't keep going. The noise from the crowd and from the soldiers make him feel even worse. Then Jesus falls because he can't take another step. We adore you, O Christ, and we praise you.
Eighth station. Jesus meets the crying woman. Look at Jesus. After Jesus gets up, he continues on the road carrying his heavy cross. He passes some women who are crying because they are so sad to see Jesus suffer. But instead of only thinking of himself and how bad he feels, Jesus tells the woman not to keep crying because of him. He tells them instead to take care of others. We adore you, O Christ, and we praise you.
Ninth station. Jesus falls a third time. Look at Jesus. Jesus is so tired now that he can hardly take another step. It is hard for him to breathe. He has been walking a long time along the dusty road, and he has no energy left. He just can't go on anymore. Then Jesus falls down in the street for the third time. He is so very tired. Jesus asks God to help him, and Jesus gets up again, even though it is hard for him to do. We adore you, O Christ, and we praise you.
Tenth station. Jesus' clothes are taken away. Look at Jesus. Jesus reaches the hill that is the end of the road he has to walk. Jesus knows that he will die here, but before he dies, the soldiers will pull off his long robe, and almost all his clothes are taken from him. Jesus stands in front of the crowd only wearing a small piece of clothes. Jesus asks God to help him remember that he is not alone, that God is with him through all of this. We adore you, O Christ, and we praise you.
Eleventh station. Jesus is nailed to the cross. Look at Jesus. How much Jesus hurts as the soldiers nail him to the cross. He hurts all over. He is tired and thirsty. He knows that he is going to die. But he looks at the people who have hurt him, and instead of saying bad things to those people, Jesus asks God to forgive them. He looks at his mother and he tells her to take care of others. Even when he is dying, Jesus is thinking of other people. We adore you, O Christ, and we praise you.
Station. Jesus dies on the cross. Finally, after the long walk, after falling 3 times, after having the men beat him, after being nailed to the cross and suffering there for hours, Jesus bows his head and dies. Now this part of his life is over. Jesus had given his life for all of us. We adore you, O Christ, and we praise you.
Thirteenth station. Jesus is taken down from the cross. Look at Jesus. Now Jesus' body is taken down from the cross. No more pain or suffering for Jesus. All the pain is over. Mary, Jesus' mother, holds him tenderly in her arms. How sad she is, and how sad Jesus' friends are. They are crying as they hold his body. We adore you, O Christ, and we praise you.
Station. Jesus was laid in the tomb. Look at Jesus. Jesus' friends wash his body and wrap it in a clean sheet. They touch his body gently, and then they put his body into a tomb. When they are finished, they push a very large stone over the entrance, so that no one can go inside. Now there is darkness in the tomb where Jesus' body lies, and all of his friends go home because they are very sad and tired. We adore you, O Christ, and we praise
you. Easter. Easter. We remember Jesus' journey to the cross and honor his sacrifice during Lent with our own awesome sacrifice. We remember Jesus' journey to the cross and honor his sacrifice during Lent with our own Lenten sacrifices. After Jesus died on the cross, he rose from the dead on the third day. We celebrate his rising from the dead on Easter Sunday, and we rejoice in the promise of eternal life. We hope our presentation gave you time to reflect on the sacrifices of Jesus and understand what he went through to give us the promise of eternal life.